coffee. It's a close one. Okay. We're here. Hey, everybody.
Hello.
Welcome back.
Thank you.
Not yet talking to the audience.
Today is another day.
Yeah. So that's pretty much what we're reporting on.
Yep. Another sun has set and another sun has risen. New sun.
And a moon rose too in there too. And set. We have more guests. I'm Graham.
I'm Ashcon.
We're not the guests. We're just the hosts. Just your mild-mannered hosts here. But we are bringing on Dylan and Sandra Calm.
Yeah,
We've
that's
been,
pretty exciting.
Yeah, we've been checking in with people kind of all over North America, I suppose, so far.
Yeah,
and
our bathrobe buddies.
Yeah,
we have deemed them.
Bathrobe buddies. And yeah, we thought our next round of bathrobe buddies would come right here from Portland. See what's going on in another part of the city, you know?
Yeah, Dylan and Sandra own the Float Shoppe, which is across town from us. And they've been running for almost as long as we have, a long time now. Something like 60, 70 years, I think. And Dylan, of course, hosts the Art of the Float podcast. I realize we haven't given introductions to anybody else so far this week.
Yeah,
so this is
terrible job. Yeah. Yeah, and they put out really cool photography of floaters. You should definitely check out their Patreon page. But Art of the Float is where you can get tied into all of that. Wow, this is starting to sound official.
This is a real thing.
Yeah.
I mean, you probably know who they are. That's probably why we don't really need to do stuff like this.
Well, let's give him a ring.
All right, let's ring him in. Here we go.
Yeah.
Getting ready to launch here. Okay.
And we are live, so everything we've been saying, people have been listening to. Nice.
Hello!
Hey!
Hey! Should I turn my radio down? Or if I'm watching it?
Yeah, mute your screen. Hold on, we need to get your little pseudo figurines up here. There we go.
Oh, with figurines? Oh, wait, I meant to pull you up.
Yeah. Yeah, thanks for hopping on the air with us, guys. Also, you're so much more responsible than Matt Smith and who was the other one who didn't?
Heather.
Yeah, Heather. Yeah, we called them and it went to voicemail. Like, we set this all up and then we just hit the voicemail the last 2 days, and you picked up on the first ring. So
yeah,
we can tell you
good.
guys are podcast professionals
You're on top
here.
of it. I like it.
That's from our website.
Oh, good. I like that I'm like the squishy teddy bear. That feels good.
It does seem right.
Awesome. Yeah. How are you guys doing? I don't think we've actually talked since both of our centers shut down. So.
Yeah, what's happening on the other side of Portland?
Well,
Probably because we've completely disconnected. We've just been plugged into, wrangling our children, but spending treasured time with our family. I think
yes,
is-
that's what we've been doing. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. No,
Yeah.
it's the same thing. Ashcon's pretty much just been trying to wrangle me as I run rampant here in the house.
I've been spending treasured time with Grant. That's how I like to phrase it.
Wash your hands. You have paint all over your hands. Get back here.
Yeah, that's pretty much our days too.
I think in the first weeks initially after we closed, it was just such almost like a strange fog we were swimming through, where so much was coming out every day. There were so many unknowns that we couldn't even connect with, social media with our clients. I felt like I didn't know what to say to anybody. And I still feel a little bit like that, although things are starting to feel more clear. We all sort of know where we're standing and what's going on without knowing how, where we're going. It's hard. There's ups and downs, but right now the sun is out in Portland, so that's everything.
Yeah, we've been spending a lot of time in our backyard.
Yeah. Yeah, fortunate enough to have a backyard during all of this, which is actually pretty nice.
It's a really interesting time.
Yeah.
Just like seeing how different people are affected by this, and how like your digs, your setup, and your place kind of in life affects that. And like beautiful backyard with a play set and a swing set and everything. We have this really nice situation, and then other people I see are just always in their apartment, or like they have a tiny balconies. It's a different scene. It's tough.
No, yeah, like got the privilege of having a home.
Mm-hmm.
The last day, so on the side, aside from the Float Center stuff, I work with nursing students, and I was out with nursing students working with the homeless population, and I keep thinking back to, that day where we were distributing supplies and talking with people who don't have homes, and I just feel so grateful, and I'm thinking about the people who are much less privileged than us.
Right.
Yeah, for sure. Especially just because of how rapid everything's been. Like, it's hard to even, I imagine, have the right support systems in place when everything happens so quickly.
Right.
So are you still, Sandra, are you still doing anything with the nursing side of things? I mean, I imagine that is also, reduced for like non-essential staff, or are you still like kind of going into
She's
that
always
full...
essential.
Okay. I guess I realize I have no idea what's what that looks like right now for you.
You're exactly right. Nursing education involves having nursing students in clinical environments, and that's what I usually do with nursing. Is I'm there with people. So halfway through the semester, we had to leave the skilled nursing facility that we were in, and we are doing everything online. And then over the summer, I was slated to be the clinical instructor again in a hospital, and all of that has been canceled. So the nursing students are all graduating late by a semester, and everything is canceled for summer.
Or they get to see me in my pajamas, I think is the biggest thing.
It's true.
It's Zoom meetings with me in the background.
Just wandering around, drinking pickle juice from the jar, yeah.
Sandra has chosen to have meetings on is bizarre. It's like she's setting me up for a blooper reel.
Yeah. And then there goes Dylan's butt in the background. Like, of course, I'm sitting in a chair. That's the angle.
Pointing at the bedroom door.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
So yeah, everybody's adapting in some way. It's crazy how everybody is impacted by this, and like enrollments. I don't know, just every factor of our society. Yeah.
And just how it was a really interesting week that we experienced, at least here in Portland. I'm sure it was similar in some places, but there was this crazy time where we went from within a span of 5 days, I went from we're not gonna shut down to we're definitely gonna shut down. It was crazy, and it was honestly really nice having some form of communication with you guys, and just realizing that we all were trying to figure this out, and it was really helpful knowing what other people were gonna do, and trying to have something to check our own thoughts and opinions off of.
Yeah. We all closed before the governor of the state of Oregon, Kate Brown, issued the shelter in place order.
Non-essential.
Yeah, where we all had to close down after that, but it was a week.
I think Maryland, and I don't want to speak for her, but I think she got an okay to stay open and didn't feel good about it, decided to close anyways. I don't know if that stood over time, but at least initially, which is pretty wild.
Yeah.
Yeah, it felt like everyone here, within a period of about 30 hours, it went from all float centers are open in Portland to all float centers are closed. And I mean, there is something cool about the fact that we were able to, I think Dylan, you started that thread on just a kind of Facebook group or something like that for going back and forth. But yeah, it was so cool to actually have this relationship with float centers, like Ashkan was saying, where, we have multiple owners and we get to bang our heads against a wall together and stuff like that. But having an entire industry of people in your city to collectively bang their heads against a wall when we're trying to figure out what to do was very satisfying. Yeah.
I mean, we had Jason McDonald on the podcast, and he was like, float centers pretty cool, very low risk here, and we're great, awesome, put that out there. And then the next day was oh God, no, this is not good. And every podcast recording was okay, I need to get this out immediately because things will change 13 hours from now. It was a weird time. And our Facebook chat was just going nonstop, towards the bottom being close the doors.
Yeah, close
weird.
the doors.
and the conversations, I can't imagine what it was like for you guys. I'd be curious, but for Sandra and I mean, it was just throughout the day, every single day. Do we close? We'd write an email. We'd sit on it. 6 hours later, the email would be out of date. We'd write a new one. And the conversation just back and forth. Should we close? Should partial hours? Should we block off every other float? How do we do this? And then finally, oh gosh, I forget exactly what it was, but Sandra was like, we got to close. And I was right there with her.
Yeah.
Like, yep, absolutely.
Has to happen.
What was it? I'm curious what it was like for you guys.
Basically exactly that. Like we were just constantly having meetings and phone calls, like checking in and trying to decide things, and same thing, like trying to figure out if we should stagger our schedule and what we should be putting in place.
Right.
And it was hard, and we had different opinions from each other, and those opinions were constantly shifting. And I don't know, I mean, once we finally did decide to close, it was at the very least a relief in a lot of ways.
Right.
The stress of having to make these crazy decisions was at least alleviated, and I mean, it turned out that was had we even decided that we didn't want to do that, we probably would have decided 24 hours later that we would have wanted to. So yeah, but it was definitely a very strenuous week.
Yeah.
Right.
Are you feeling a new weight of a crazy stressful decision that you have to make? Do you want to talk about that?
And what? Oh boy, is there a stressful decision?
Yeah, what's that?
What are you talking about?
Well, for me, the thing that comes up first is the timing of when in the world the Paycheck Protection Program is going to come through.
Oh,
and when we can possibly rehire people, and can that help us stretch until the point when the governor's order is going to be lifted, and wow.
At least that one I feel much less in control of.
I mean, that's a good thing.
It is kind of a good thing. With our float center, it was up to us whether we wanted to keep it open or closed it. And for this, it's we've done everything we can. We sent in our application. We've we've pushed in a couple different directions. And I can't go down to the bank and bang on their door and force them to take our application or anything.
Yeah, they specifically said in an email not to do that if you wanted your application accepted.
So I don't know. There's something about feeling more powerless in this situation that makes it somehow a little less stressful to me.
Absolutely.
Some people really don't like feeling out of control. That's not a good feeling for people.
But when you accept it, when you just embrace the fact that you're just a leaf in the wind.
when we're all used to being all powerful, this is.
Oh yeah, that's
That was the funny thing about thinking about shutting our float center down. Was every once in a while I would realize what an incredibly small piece of the entire social net of society our float center is. I'm we're sitting here stressing out so hard about shutting this thing down, and everybody's having these conversations across thousands and thousands and thousands of businesses, and some people are running businesses that are 1,000 times larger than ours, and doing way crazier stuff and involving much more human interaction. It gave me some perspective on how crazy,
small and insignificant we are.
Well, mostly on how much even crazier this must have been for some other people. The fact that was such a difficult time for us, and we were probably are a very low risk environment compared to other people and other decisions that had to be made, and ultimately we have of course much less employees than certainly some companies have. So I don't know, it was interesting realizing just how crazy this was.
Yeah.
But no, totally, we're just crossing all fingers and toes for Paycheck Protection Program right now.
Right.
Yeah, totally. I assume you guys are doing the same thing on your side.
Yeah, exactly. And we applied for that the economic injury disaster loan with the potential $10,000 forward.
Yeah.
But we haven't heard anything from that. And
Yeah,
We didn't hear anything back from that.
Yeah. And our landlords are giving us essentially an interest-free loan on our rent. So we pay that back later.
That's cool.
Yeah, which is, it's cool and also not, because we have to pay that money at some point. How?
Yeah.
I know, it would be nicer if they just gave you free rent for a month.
I mean, if it gets extended to the point that it'll be, if you get the Paycheck Protection Program and then it's a part of that 8 weeks, it is kind of it would be useful theoretically. I think. I don't really know.
Yeah, we don't really know anything. Yeah.
Exactly.
So I had a question for you, Dylan.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, that's right. It's a big one. So you just released some photo sets, which are awesome. I just looked through all the little videos and stuff like that, which is really cool to.
The
really
answer
cool
is
to
you
get.
can see a lot of photos of me in a bathtub, making it look like I'm in a float tank. I didn't get that good at Photoshop.
Oh man, no. So are these like things that you had backlogged? Or are you still, because it's just one-on-one? Are you still actually like doing photo shoots at the center?
No photo shoot. So I hope this doesn't last too long, because I have stuff in the bank basically. Fortunately, like the athletics one, I built up a long runway with, and it was actually kind of weird. The reason the runway took so long to build had to do with working with certain athletic models. Used to like working with Nike and these companies that they don't own their images, they lease them basically. Like they pay them some amount of money for 2 years or something like that, or 6 months, something like that. And like just kind of working out like, well, how does that work with this network, this community of people using these images? And that's why a lot of these images for athletes won't ever be resold, is that it's Patreon and then gone, so that I can't sell them in perpetuity, you know. And then video might run out sooner than athletic shoots, though. I don't know. We'll see what goes on, and maybe I can find somebody who's been in quarantine this whole time and get some video. But
it'll be me, probably.
Nice. Yeah. It'll be in the jacuzzi. And
That's good. And as you've seen, it's actually not hard to put faces onto stuffed animals, and they look pretty good. Like not unrealistic. So
I feel like I'm in the room and I'm looking at it.
Just a little pro tip for your photography there. That one's free of charge too. No consulting fee.
Can you give me a comforting pat on my head there?
Yeah, absolutely. There you go.
I feel better already.
So what are you doing with your tanks over there at the center? Are you taking care of them? Do you have someone taking care of them? Did you just give them away or donate them to hospitals, or what's
Right.
I think it's pretty similar to what a lot of people are doing. Lower the amount of water in a few of them, lower the temperature. The pumps are running automatically still as if people were floating or as if we were open. And then we have 2 employees and occasionally myself going in, just checking peroxide levels and temperature and just doing the standard tests to make sure that the water is good.
Your pumps are running like every 2 hours or something? Like actually like as if you were open?
Correct. That's
wow.
Right.
And then we also, our psychotherapist is still seeing clients there 2 days a week. So we have things staggered, so that she's, sort of there to see if there's any massive flood. And that's what it is in my mind. Like she would call us if there was something terrible happening. So I feel like that's a little bit of a side check too.
Yeah, if you've ever had a flood in your center, that's always
never. Yeah, don't know what you're talking about. Your flood tanks are getting salt everywhere.
Your last guest, you're aware of that as well. It's just always in you after that.
We're starting to have the conversation about at what point does it become more economical to just dump the tanks and refill them at the end of this. Like that's a math equation we need to do, because we are paying people to maintain them, and we're paying for the electricity and the salt and the peroxide and everything like that. So we're thinking about it. How about you guys? What are you doing over there?
We've been so our float tanks don't have any automated filter cycle stuff. Like it's all run manually by us.
As like we set it up that way too. So even things that do have automated pump systems, for just a shout out to the manufacturers who did design these complicated systems that we refuse to use. But yeah, all of our tanks are set up automatically manually. Manually is the word I was looking for. Go on, Ashkan.
We've just been running them twice a day basically, and that's only because a couple of our tanks have only inline heaters, but the other ones probably. I mean, mostly I think we've been keeping them at temperature and we've just been trying to stop any salt from solidifying in the pipes or pump. And so luckily we live, a 5-minute walk away from our float center, so it's not that hard. But we just go in twice a day and run the filtration system and do a couple other like small maintenance things, and then they're just kind of chilling otherwise.
Are you taking advantage of the downtime to do any remodeling?
A little bit. We did at the beginning, some small stuff like painting and just kind of some like, we haven't done anything totally crazy, like torn anything out or...
Yeah, we were saying this yesterday too, but yeah, we unfortunately we had the foresight to do a big construction project right before all of this went down. So it was about like a month and a half of our shop being closed, and then like 2 weeks of being open, and then we were just closed again. So it would have been cool to be able to do that, now. But yeah, so got the construction out of the way right before all this hit.
Man.
Brutal.
Yeah, I know. At least we're not like under it. Like I feel so bad for float centers who are like 2 weeks away from opening, and then everything around them shuts down. Like that's so wild.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and we've talked to a couple of them, but yeah.
People getting that momentum, like people who have opened, like building it up, and then the carpet right underneath them gone. Like oh boy.
Yeah, so what are you going to do? Even things like that, where it's like, yeah, it would have been cool to not do this giant construction project and be closed before this and have a little more of a buffer in our bank account. At the same time, it's like, how can you really be upset about stuff like that, And certainly, like...
We're a speck of dust in the cosmic...
Right.
We're but a lotus blossom floating in the stream of life. Yeah. Wild. What else do we usually ask people? What are you guys doing for... We have like a standard set of questions that I'm also legitimately curious about. What are you guys doing for marketing still? Like, are you keeping your memberships active? Did you cancel on everyone? Are you still like running Facebook ads or anything? Or
we're not doing any Facebook ads. We are doing memberships get a bonus float for anybody who supports us during this time.
Nice.
And I think, is that it?
That is all we're doing so far. But we've talked about, what we want to do. And we've talked about saying, hey, can we maybe join you on that offering, floats to healthcare workers?
Right. Yeah.
Because that is real. That's the right spirit, I think. What is it that we can possibly do to contribute to this? And perhaps that's exactly it. Help the people who are at the front lines recover as well as possible. I really like what you guys set up.
You guys are absolutely welcome to join us for sure.
Oh, awesome! I think we'll go ahead and do that. We'll talk more about that. I'm curious.
And
like
Sandra, it would be great. Not to cut you off, but it'd also be great to, we've been having customers email us like where they think we should donate our floats at the other end of this. But it'd be great to hear your advice too for since you're kind of deeper in that world, like what might be the most useful places for us to actually be able to give those floats.
Oh my gosh. Well, really, it is across the board in terms of healthcare workers. Essentially, anybody who's working in healthcare is being impacted. And some people have misconceptions about, perhaps a labor and delivery nurse isn't necessarily going to be the one who is, front lines with COVID-19 patients. But the thing is that asymptomatic spread is quite a factor, that a person who appears in labor who appears healthy may be an asymptomatic carrier, and everybody in that room is just as at risk as elsewhere in the hospital. And they are all working incredibly hard, just as hard. I know personally 2 ICU nurses who I see regularly because they're neighbors 2 doors down, and so I'm hearing last night, the night before last night, one of them was taking care of a COVID-19 patient all night, and they're in their isolation gear that oftentimes, rubs on their noses in strange ways, like the N95s. When you wear them all day, they kind of give you pressure injuries on your nose, behind your ears. And my whole message is everybody is going to need some true recovery once this is all said and done. And I wish desperately that we could provide it in the middle, but we just can't. So I think that I love what you're doing in asking people where they should donate those floats. I'd say if we could collect a list of names and email addresses, like people who have been nominated, then that could just be like an open source collection tool on a website or something.
Sure. Yeah.
Nominate somebody. And I'd love to extend it also to grocery store workers and other people who are on the front lines keeping everything just going.
Sure. Yeah, one of our friends is actually a manager over at a Dollar Tree, which you can imagine how like crazy Dollar Tree is normally, and even crazier now.
Their top selling product during normal times is toilet paper.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
Yeah. So, but no, he's been like super stressed out too. Like speaking of self-care for people on the front lines and stress, it's like he's feeling it. Like he feels like if he's not writing his staff to, be totally responsible and be disinfecting everything, like he might cost people their lives, and he's like having to, with his own personal dime, like he'll buy hand sanitizer, like one box off the truck and keep that just like by the front counter. So when it's sold out and like elderly people come through and need it, he can like actually just like give them one, and all kinds of crazy stuff like that. Like talking to him really opened up my eyes for anyone who's still active like that. Essential services, not just medical workers are, like just really feeling the stress of it. Yeah.
Like we don't have to go in right now and face the public and everything. When I go shopping, I feel like it's like going into war. It's this incredibly weird. Or like when I get back, I feel like I was just in like a stressful situation. Like high intensity. Every time my hands touch something, I'm aware of it. I'm noticing people aren't wearing their face masks, or the husband is, the wife isn't, or like my brain is just freaking out. To actually be working in one of those places must be so draining. Like let alone the actual health risks, but just the mental toll of doing that. We need to get to quote unquote stay home.
Yeah, for sure.
Yes, no, I love that idea. Like expanding that to grocery store workers is awesome as well.
Yeah, and maybe we'll just chat before we do the donations and see how well we can kind of spread them out between us and stuff.
That sounds great. I love the idea of there just being a much bigger pool to give from. Like as much as we can collaborate together.
No, that sounds awesome. We also, I don't know if you guys saw, but on the Float Tank Solutions site, we put up a post where we open sourced all of the stuff that we did for our Get One, Give One campaign for medical workers. So if you did want like a template of our newsletter or like that image that we used that Catherine drew, you guys are very welcome to that stuff too.
Catherine is such an amazing artist. Catherine, wow.
She's sitting watching us live right now too on the other side of this camera too, so you made her blush,
And I see Dana Heifels watching too. You're also welcome to join. Everybody in Portland is dead. Definitely don't feel weird about hopping on and doing the same kind of a program. Absolutely.
Great.
It won't be weird. I promise.
I do it too, but I didn't want to speak for her. So Dana, are you in?
Yeah, it'd be awesome if we all did it for sure. That sounds great.
Yep, and just ignore the cease and desist letters you get. Our lawyers just do that every time. It's nothing personal. Oh man. I guess anything else to share with the, let's see, how many people do? It looks like 3 million people out there watching right now, or?
Yeah.
3 million, well.
I think the only other thing, well, maybe two things, but one is...
maybe three.
The idea of being able to have this time to reflect and not have a business to go to. And I mean, we've been open for, is it 8 years?
8 years.
And 8.5. And sometimes it's not consciously running a business. You're just doing it because it's what you know that you do, right? Like we all go through these ebbs and flows of being really present and conscious, and times when we're more in habitual mode. And this has been a great time to reflect on what we're doing. And if it's something we want to keep doing, are we truly motivated by this still? Does it move us? Is it good for us and our family? And the answer has been yes to us, as we do love it. We do want to continue with it. And then the next questions are like, how can we run this differently or better or more efficiently that fulfills us or makes more money? Just all these different avenues that this space allows our brains to breathe, have some blood flow, and think a little bit more objectively and consciously.
Yeah, it's nice. I mean, you're totally right. Like when life is moving at full speed, it's really hard to actually like get that level of contemplation. I mean, fortunately, we are float tank center owners, so like we have these vehicles to go and contemplate our lives a little more than perhaps other jobs. But
Give us 1 second here.
okay, yeah, well, probably like family stuff, I imagine, right? We'll fill in some conversation in the Oh boy.
It's okay. There we go.
Cool, and yeah, we'll let you guys get going soon too. We were just about to wind
But
up down
wait,
anyway.
we have a surprise.
You have a surprise.
You have a surprise.
Are you done?
Yeah, I'm here.
Hey, Dana.
Hey.
Whoa! What?
Nice. That's awesome. Hi, Dana.
Hi. There's a delay in the video, but it's awesome to see you guys and to chat. Dylan just conferenced me in here.
Oh,
Excellent.
awesome! That's cool.
Excellent.
Yeah, great hearing your voice, Dana. All right, little Portland, float family reunion, and Dana Highfill runs float.
Together.
I was
And
just
have an excuse to drink a beer at noon.
yeah, and just a little background too to
Where's
tell.
Marilyn? We gotta get everybody.
Yeah, right, Charlie. Yeah. But yeah, Dana.
Marilyn had a catastrophe. She couldn't join, unfortunately.
That issue came up. Sorry to hear that.
And yes, for anyone watching, Dana Highfill runs another float center here in town, Float North, in
Yeah,
Portland,
Float North,
which is great.
Yeah. Yeah, I love what you guys put out, the open source stuff. Thanks for doing that. That's always helpful.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we love kind of open sourcing a lot of our efforts, and like now of all time, certainly, it's like anything that's useful and saves people a little bit of mental effort, I think is great.
Yeah, you guys have put such good energy out into the collective. It's fantastic. Thank you.
Oh, yeah, I mean, really, like, all of this stuff is keeping us sane, too. We're, like, pretty much workaholics over here, so we need something to keep us busy. Yeah. Wow, well, this is great. How are you doing, Dana? How's your...
What's your quadrant of Portland like?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's going good. I think, we offer people the very same thing that we're all doing right now, which is a pause. That's what we offer people with float therapy. And so just the fact that everybody is taking a big old pause, I think is in some ways, as hard as it is and as crazy making as it can be, it's really good for all of us to have a little introspective time.
Yeah, I mean, it does kind of go back to what Dylan was saying. Like there is just a chance to like reflect on stuff and get, some of the distractions of the day-to-day hustle and bustle that get kind of cleared off the plate. I don't know. It's been nice for us too, just being able to like I didn't quite realize how many directions we were being pulled in almost until this, right? Where it's just like so much stuff that I didn't realize was this kind of constant noise in our lives that's now been realized because it's gone. It's been interesting.
Yeah, for sure. I've been enjoying watching Greg Griffin complete different Star Wars Lego sets on online on Facebook. That's been
Greg is great.
He keeps it in balance. He's got his garden and his Legos.
Garden.
I love that greenhouse we made.
Yeah, I didn't see the greenhouse. All I saw was the giant Star Destroyer.
I am noticing a lot of friends I didn't know were secret Lego builders are showing up on Facebook, really coming out of the woodwork. So what they're doing.
It's like they were always doing it, but now that they have time on their hands, it's no longer embarrassing to work on that. You're like, oh, I'm only doing this giant Lego set because I'm stuck at home. Not like this is what I was doing every single night anyway,
Oh, okay.
Dana, do you have any habits that you don't, or like hobbies that you don't usually admit that you do, that now that you have downtime you can admit to the world that you're spending a bunch of time on?
I have one really strange hobby that I don't want to share, but I will.
Perfect. This is content. Yeah.
So I've been doing, and this is mostly for friends and people, but I've been doing readings for people because they're all losing their shit. Excuse my French.
It's okay. You can cuss on this show.
So
it's fine. Yeah.
I do some readings where I pull some cards and it's kind of like you can tell a story, and sometimes the person can really get a different perspective with that, and that's been really fun.
Oh, cool. Like tarot readings?
Kind of, but it's a Native American tradition, different than tarot, but similar.
Oh, cool. Yeah, that's neat. I really like finding little ways like that people have been able to help out with just their community or their friend group. It's really neat.
It helps me stay connected, and it helps people get a different perspective. And I feel like because I have a practice of being quiet and meditation and stuff like that's something I can still offer to people.
Yeah, that's nice. All we can really do is sit around in bathrobes and chat with other members of the float community. So everyone helps how they can. Oh man. Okay. Well, I think we had better wind this down. Our Facebook expert, content creator guru Derek Wyatt tells us that we should keep these to around 15 to 20 minutes, which we've been terrible at because it's too fun to catch up with people. But man, so good hearing all of your voices. And awesome having you hop on, Dana. That was great.
Yeah, thanks, Dylan. Thank you, guys. I really enjoyed talking to you guys.
And Sandra says goodbye. She had to leave the call to start her class late. she got for this as well. So thank you guys. Very good to see you guys and see our faces with you guys. We'll have to make that a reality when this is all.
For sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, another gathering of the Portland Float Mafia for sure. Oh man. All right. Well, be safe out there, guys. Excellent talking to you. And thanks again for hopping on.
Thanks, guys.
Cool.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.
That was a crowded line, huh? We didn't, I wish that we had it together. We should just should we make little printouts of everyone in the float industry
just
should they happen to call in?
And we can start going through our records.
So that was awesome. Thanks everyone who's tuned in to listen to us chat with our friends here in Portland. And if you want us to call you, I guess let us know. We
or just call us at around noon. My phone will start ringing.
Don't call our phones around noon. That's definitely not mine. It's the one live streaming. Hopefully we'll see you guys here tomorrow. I mean, we'll be here tomorrow. Hopefully you'll see us tomorrow is what I meant to say there. And got another fun interview lined up for you. So
that's right. Big one. Day 15 is going to be a big one. All right.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.